So thank you everybody for coming, and welcome everybody. I'm absolutely delighted to be hosting this with Steve. Steve's someone who I have known about through various people in the real estate sector for years, and it was an absolute pleasure to finally be able to get to work with him. Steve, when we start this off, why don't we bring you in right away and give us a little bit about your background, for those of them people on here that may not know you as well as I do.
Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, for the last probably I would say 8 years or so, how most people know me is probably from the podcast. We've got Disruptors, formerly Real Estate Disruptors. We interviewed some of the top entrepreneurs, people building empires, millionaires, creating millionaires, and so on. Which, of course, you're going to be on in the near future. That's how most people know me. How some other people also know me is we've been doing sales training, how to build the self-managing sales team so that you can actually focus on what's important. We've been talking about that quite a bit for the last year or so. But what people may not know is that I have also been running a real estate business for almost 20 years now. And I've gone through and managed a ton of salespeople that unfortunately, as a bad leader, I burned through and really just kind of screwed that up quite a bit. And so we've been obsessed with sales, myself, Ian Ross, across the hall for many, many years now. And we've tried lots of different things, what's worked, what hasn't worked. And so we've had the opportunity to work with, I was looking through this, 50 of the top house buyers in the country right now. We've worked with them either today or in the recent past. So we've been able to really do a lot of sales stuff. And then what is perhaps interesting is that as we're talking about AI, before I got into real estate, I was an engineer. And so, like, that has been incredibly helpful, incredibly handy in helping us execute what we're going to be talking about today.
Well, and sales plus engineer isn't always the match that historically I've not seen that as a huge matchup. So you that
About a
makes
plus
you
normally.
right. That you makes you unique. And I'm excited to dive into some of these concepts, both on the AI front and then on the sales front, because there's such a it's such a needed sales is something that we all need as business owners, and
Mhm.
so many people suck at, and
Yes.
not, or suck at managing it
Both
in some
that
way,
too.
in both those ways. And for those of you who are watching this and don't know anything about myself, I'll quickly introduce myself. My name is Jordan. I co-founded Smartphone. It feels like 20 years ago, but I think it's only about 8.5 years ago. And I'm currently the chairman of the company. And Smartphone is an all-in-one platform for phone communications that really specializes in deep integration with a niche set of CRMs. So, unlike a lot of the systems on the market there, we differentiate ourselves by A, being completely all in one. So, you've got your phones, call, text, voicemails, mobile apps, you've got video calling and power dialing all in one place. Soon to be also text blasting, little teaser, coming soon. But also, more importantly, really deeply integrated with our CRMs of choice. And in particular, for a large part of our customer segment, we've worked historically for 8 years with a lot of real estate investors. And so we integrate with some of the best in class real estate CRMs. And that combination of an all in one system that is absolutely linked with the best in class CRMs is what makes us successful as a company, but also more importantly, it makes our customers successful. And that's another reason why, to jump into the integration we've done recently with you, Steve. I'm really excited about that because it's another way, from our point of view, of bringing the most value add we can to our real estate investors. Before we dive into the AI bit, I mean, sales itself from real
Well, before
estate
you
point of
continue,
view.
let me just
Oh,
interrupt you real quick. I apologize. I just want to applaud you, right? Because I brought this up. Stephanie Betters and I were talking. She's like, "You need to talk to Jordan at Smartphone." I was like, "Oh, that's great. If you can connect me with the founder of Smartphone, that'd be fantastic. As a client, that would be fantastic because like I'm aware of Smartphone, but I never got a chance to meet you." And so she set up that meeting. You jumped on within 48 hours, and then within a matter of weeks, we had everything integrated between your company, smartphone, and our platform. And I'll tell you, I've been having tons of conversations. We have almost 40 people now on our platform. Everyone I talk to, when they say smartphone, like, oh my God, yes, right? Because it's done. Everyone else has been pulling teeth to get them like, hey, here's what we're doing. Here's how it helps the customers. Here's how they win. And they're like, yeah, we'll get to it. It's like, I don't think you understand the power here, or maybe you don't appreciate your customer base. Because, like, for me right now, I'm like, hey, if you're using that tool right now, I can tell you we don't work with it, but we work with smartphone, right? So, like, the fact that you have the foresight, because also, as a business owner, we tend to get shiny object syndrome. So, like, my idea isn't innovative, right? You already had the idea, but you agreed to say, hey, if someone's already doing it, let's just work with them versus doing it ourselves, because that has been the bottleneck. I've got so many people that say, I want to use your program. And all I can say is, me too. I want you to use it too, but not today.
No, I appreciate that, and from my point of view, I think it does speak for, that we care a lot about our customer success. And, Stephanie is someone that I've known for years. We work really closely with, and I value enormously. I'm actually with her in Austin on Saturday. I'm flying out,
Oh, yeah. Yes.
flying over. Um, as soon as I was able to talk to you and understand what you're doing, I got really excited because I'm always of the opinion is of, you do what you do best and let people do what they do best. And I know what we
Yes.
do best. And and I also know a lot about, having worked with a lot of people who've worked with you and spoken so highly of you. I know you're going to smash this bit. So why, like, to me, it's a perfect storm of, let's bring our technology together with your amazing technology and sales. And just a massive win-win for our customer base.
Yeah.
And that's
So, yeah.
that's
So,
massive.
yeah. So, again, I had to cut you off, but I just wanted to, applaud you because I am talking to multiple people and man, it's been exhausting. It's like, hey, like, where are we on this? We need this.
Well, yeah, I'm glad we could get there first.
Yeah,
I'll always take being first out of the box on something. Um,
absolutely.
well, let's start with a bit of sales chat and then go into this tool and the integration. I
Yes.
mean, and the reason I want to start with the sales chat is I think that, you know, I there are two things that I think are really difficult about sales when you start to scale a business. And that is one, if you're scaling a business, I mean, I've scaled this business, you scale your businesses. You tend to get to a position where, if you're starting a business, chances are you're pretty good at the selling bit. Because if you're
Mhm.
not, you're not going to get to the point where you're scaling. Um,
Yes.
but once you add more people, a lot of times it breaks down because you're having to take it away from you and put it to someone else. And that means you have to build the structure and manage the structure. And I think that's a really big pain point when you first get into a scaling point. I mean, am I correct in that? What have you seen as someone who really
Oh,
understands sales?
100%. That's the reason why when we're talking about we've been working with a lot of people in the last couple of years with the self-managing sales team, why it resonates so much is because of the pain of managing salespeople, right? Because there's two things that happen. First, you're absolutely right. When you're a business owner, you can scale because you're decent at sales, right? You can't scale without being decent at sales. So you've got it, but then not, but because you know it, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can teach it. And that's where we see the disconnect is, right? On top of that, we have people that also, they bought the courses and so on, and they kind of abdicate a little bit, which, again, reality when you're trying to scale a business, it's whack-a-mole. You're putting out fires. You're trying to drum up business. You're going to masterminds. There's a lot of things you got to do, but one of those things is you got to also like make sure the salespeople are doing what they're supposed to do. One of the things that really, really jumped out at me when I read the book Gapology was like I failed as a leader for the longest time because hey Jordan, here's the login to the John Martinez program, which I never did, but I know a lot of investors do. Right? All right, here's the login to John Martinez. Go at it, and then by the way, here are some leads. Go, here's some old leads, call them. And then by the way, when you start closing some deals, I'll give you some good leads, right? Like that's kind of the training process. But now we understand gapology. We have to first teach them what's important, and then we have to test them on why it's important, and then we have to get commitment from them. Hey, now that you know why it's important, will you do that on a regular basis? Because if we don't ask for that, we can't get upset with them when they're not following the sales process. And then the last thing is, can I trust you to commit to actually want to be excellent at it? Without managing them, it's pretty hard to do that. And so that's the reason why I'm so excited about the tool we have, because it makes it about 90% easier to do all those things. But that's the bottleneck. Salespeople having the time to train them properly. Because, like, 10 years ago, you met me. Hey, Jordan, get in my car, go with me to this appointment, watch me close this seller, right? And we get back. All right, Jordan, can you do that? Like, that was the training we used to do. So we don't
Good
do that
luck.
anymore.
Good luck, pal. Well, and
Yeah.
and to your point as well, I think, and where I get really excited about the integration with the objection proof selling tool is that um, the second half of setting people up for success is maintaining success over time.
Yes. Right.
And right, and that like, so you can train, and sometimes people get actually do a pretty good job at an initial thing if they've read the right people or have the right instincts or had good mentors or whatever. But then there's that over time thing. And
Yes.
that is where, when we first talked about this, I got really excited because I've worked with, inside a smartphone, we've got thousands of real estate investors, and I speak to them on a regular basis, and I see the challenge of maintaining that quality, of reinforcing the right training.
Mm-hmm.
And for a long time, that was all about effort. It was
Yes.
always about effort, and that effort's hard. It costs money, it costs time, it costs the emotional well-being sometimes,
Yeah. It's
in some
exhausting.
ways. It's exhausting. And that's where pivoting, when we had this discussion, I see your tool as being able to massively impact that part.
Right.
Can you dive into that?
Yeah. So if you look at when you're working with salespeople, there's a couple different things that drive us crazy. We know there's leakage, right? So the first one is call reviews. So call reviews, we all know it's important. There's no one that's going to say like, oh, we don't have to worry about it, right? So we all know we have to do it, but it's brain damage to go and actually sit there and listen to a call, right? And then review which call should we review with the team later on, and so on. So that's exhausting. And it's also important though, because tight feedback loops are so critical. And so if you are doing a call review once a week, well, you might not find out for a week that you guys off his game. He's developed some bad habits. If you're doing it once a month, boy, right? Now you got some bad habits that develop for a month. And you don't know, like, if they're off their game, you know, in sports, we can see, hey, Jordan's got a bum knee. We know that today, right? If he's got some bad habits and you don't find out for a month, that directly impacts revenue massively. And that's compounding, because if the guy has a bad month, now it affects what you can spend on marketing the following month, right? And the worst case of all is that we're not doing call reviews at all, which, listen, I've been guilty of that a lot in my career, right? It wasn't until I hired VAs to do that, I want to say like 6 years ago, that we were consistently doing call reviews. And so I think that is a big pain point. And now with the tool we have in place, now we can do call reviews within minutes, right? A sales call conversation is finished, they end the call, and within minutes, we're getting a notification in email, Slack, Google Chat, wherever you want it. Some people have it in WhatsApp. You can know within minutes how your sales guy is doing. And so now, there's two different things. A, they know they're being watched, right? There's high accountability. There's no plays off, right? And you can catch things quickly. There's the book "You Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike" at Seminar, right? Stanley Selling System, great book, great system, right? A lot of our foundations is derived from that. I heard David Sandler talk about. He said that if you want me at my best, all you got to do is put me in the middle of Cowboy Stadium, fill it up, and watch me bang on the phones all day. Because of that maximum accountability, he will be his best self all day, every day, right? Ian Ross and myself, when we do our sales calls, we know our guy's going to watch it later to study. There is no shortcuts, maximum accountability. right? Well, now with automatic call reviews, maximum accountability. Everyone knows because we put it into the Google chat where every other salesperson can monitor it. And the salespeople are required to go in there and offer feedback on the call review. There's no hiding from this. There is no escaping accountability in our sales organization.
I absolutely love that. I love the accountability element of it. I absolutely love the accountability of that because I think that is going for people who have an element of talent in this, that's going to let them thrive. That's going to push them to thrive massively.
Mhm.
But the other thing that I really love about this, because I've seen it fall down on so many customers, is just that, I mean, it sounds silly, but I know a, I would say the majority of of customers I've spoken to, I won't say our customers, but customers I've spoken to, don't actually review a lot of calls. They don't check. They it's like you're it's like the because of time, and I get it, time and effort and all that. But if you let, say you've got three people making calls, whether it's volume calls with the smart dial or whatever, or even just following up on leads that are relatively warm, if you go for a month without reviewing calls, and I know there are people out there who go for way longer than that, but just take a month, that is potentially hundreds of deals that you are risking by having people not follow your process, not, by having people drop the ball or decide to go a different way or simply not be interested, whatever it is. And you're never gonna know. You're only gonna know by your win close rate. Well, what could your win close rate be if you were looking at it?
Mhm.
Is my thing always, and that's where this tool to me is
Yeah.
like a revelation because you cannot help but monitor performance.
Exactly. It's in your face. Like there's a couple different things. And we'll talk about role playing in a bit, right? But like doing call reviews for a business owner, for a sales manager, is not that different than putting in notes in a CRM for a salesperson. Like we hate it. Like, I understand it. We hate it, right? So we're using AI to make that easier. Just like we're using AI to make it easier for the sales guy to automatically complete the CRM, we're now using AI to automatically help the sales manager do call reviews. Another thing too, the reason why we hate doing it, it's the same reason why we hate doing our books, right? It's the mundane, monotonous, repetitive things that it just doesn't feel that we're making progress. It's like I am not, a role model for fitness, right? But I know, here, I know this. Okay, when I eat this ice cream after dinner, there will be no immediate impact. But if I eat ice cream after dinner every night, there will be an impact down the road, but not today. And call reviews like that, like it's not going to hurt me today, but
Yeah.
man, in 3 months, 6 months, it's gonna be painful.
Well, I've never thought of it quite like that, but that's a perfect analogy as well because, my view, if I have spoken to customers who have literally never reviewed calls for their, or they'll do it when they first hire someone and they'll be diligent for like a few weeks and then they'll think, oh, well, this person's good enough. I'm on autopilot with them. And, if you go a month, that's bad. If you go 6 months, that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like you wouldn't do that with any other part of your business. You would not, and given that sales is our lifeblood, without sales,
Yeah,
your business is not going to exist.
yeah.
That is phenomenal. Now you mentioned role playing, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I think a lot of people get scared of, slash, not scared. They get embarrassed by. Whenever I
Yeah,
see role playing done in a group scenario, it's
yeah.
in
No one wants to raise their hands.
no, nobody wants to get in that game. But practice makes perfect. So,
Yes.
can you talk to me a bit about how you view it and how the objection proof selling method is actually working?
Yeah. So I think just like car reviews is painful. When I'm managing a salesperson, like my reward when I come into the office and I see Jordan, right? He got there early. He's got his coffee, and I stop by. I say, "Hey, Jordan, have you done your role play yet today?" My reward for when he says no is now I have to go role play with him. So it takes exertion and energy to ask Jordan if he's done it because I don't want to hear the answer, right? Because I already know the answer. And then when he says he hasn't, now I have to go be a part of it. And so that's like the double penalty, right? And so, but we all know that role playing is so critical. You know, Dean Rogers, he's a friend, he's in Family Mastermind, and so on. He played for the Chargers, and what he said is game day is so much easier than practice. They beat the crap out of each other in practice. They're going full speed, and game day is easy, right? So why wouldn't we do the same thing in sales? Why would we let our sales reps practice on leads that we spent hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on? Why are we letting them practice with live ammo? We wouldn't do that anywhere else, but we do it in sales. And so this is actually what Stephanie Butters pulled me aside and said, "Hey, you need to build this. You need to build a role play bot." Now, everything else built on top of that was with that impetus, but she was like, "You need a role play bot that's geared around your system." And so that's what we have. So we have a role play bot. We've got two people right now, two bots right now. One's Linda Johnson and one's Dick Delaney. Linda, super easy lay down, so easy to close, right? Like you have to be really bad to not close her. But Dick, he's got that name for a reason. He's a high D personality, right? So he's a tired landlord, and you got to be on your game to buy your property from Dick. And so we've got that right now. And then we're just about finishing up where, well, actually, I take that back. If you call it right now, you can get a feedback so long as you're in our system. That's the hang up. But if you're in our system, you call it. Not only do you get the role play, but you get an email summary of how you did on that role play.
Fantastic. And I mean, and role playing, to your point of the practice versus game, you know, the fact the fact that we tend to turn salespeople out into a live game when most people would never have gotten off the T-ball pitch, right? And
Yeah.
you're going into the major leagues because you've swung the bat four times. And now
Mhm.
you're there. That it's I don't know how many analogies I'm going to mix up with this, but like
It's all good.
not doing a great job with the analogies, but I mean it is an insane thing given given how critical
The
the
stakes.
the stakes are. The stakes are super high, and the amount of money that you're likely spending on those leads.
Right. So then imagine instead of me asking Jordan, "Hey, have you role played yet today?" Jordan and I are gonna have an agreement. Maybe it's Mondays through Thursdays at 8:30 a.m. But AI is calling Jordan Monday through Thursday at 8:30 a.m. to initiate role play. Now there's no thinking about it. It's just happening.
That's and the reports. Now, out of curiosity, so like you mentioned, you get the report. The person doing the role play gets a report on how they did. Is
Mhm.
there does that go to anyone else as well? I
Yeah,
genuinely.
it's going to go in the system as well. So that part's not built out right now. Is only the person that's doing the role play gets a report. But of course, as we develop this out, that's all going to be there. You're going to have, and we'll do a demo a little later on. I'll share with you what it looks like right now, and then so right now we can track performance over time. We're also going to track role play performance over time.
Well, and that's why
And the
I'm
best part about all this is salespeople are competitive. So like,
good
if I
salespeople.
show you good salespeople, yes, good salespeople, right? So if I see like Jordan's consistently averaging 75 and I'm consistently averaging 72, well, let's figure out what he's doing.
Well, and I my view is good salespeople are competitive, and if people who are in that role aren't competitive, chances are they're going to be out the door pretty soon, because
Yeah,
you gotta be hungry for it, and if you're not hungry for it, if you're not hungry to better, to improve, to be at the top, then chances are you're going to be at the bottom, mediocre, cost me a lot of money.
yeah, go work for my competition.
Yeah, please. Here's a letter of recommendation. A very good one.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I mean, I'm really excited about that bit. It's fun. It's funny. I was just thinking to myself, we're training some new salespeople in smartphone. I'm like, I may have to get them to do some role playing pretty soon.
Hmm. Yeah.
I haven't done that yet, so that's on my agenda for tomorrow to follow up. Let's dive into some things, Steve. If you want to take a show on some of this, share your
A
screen.
demo?
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
let's get into it because I want to also make sure we have time at the end for people, anybody to ask questions that they wish to.
Yep, for sure. All right, let me share my screen. One sec.
By the way, as Steve's loading up, anybody who does have questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A, just so we know what they are and we can get to them if you do have questions.
All right, cool. So you see this fine?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So when you log in, this is the dashboard, right? So on the dashboard, We can slide to 30 days, 7 days, right? 30 days can be a lot more relevant. And within the 30 days, you can see, we'll get rid of Summer because she's not technically a salesperson. But you can see, like, here is how Brett's been doing over time, right? Brett's been pretty steady Eddie. Ethan, this is where he started. He's actually doing better now. So, like, when he started, he was averaging 50. Right now, he's averaging 62. It's actually higher. It's including some of his inside sales and nurturing. So that's something we're going to be improving upon. But you can see he's doing better. And the thing I'm most excited about Ethan is, like, just a few months ago, we're like, does he have it? That was the question. Does he have it? Does he have what it takes? And through the consistent feedback, he's now closing the most for our company, right? He is setting, like, it was a great message last week when he asked me, like, hey, what's the record for sales in the company in a week? I was like, you're doing it. Like, that is the best. For someone that, like, a couple weeks ago, like, or a couple months ago, was like, man, I hope he makes it. Um, so you can see right here, right? This goes back to the competitive nature. So right now, Brett's leading the chart, 64. Elliot's behind him at 63. Ian's at 62.9. Now, there's a couple different things here. Um, this is if you think the score is low, right? Ian and I are fanatics when it comes to sales. When someone does a call review with me, it is not a fun thing. I'm going to find out every single thing that you missed. We're not going to continue to call until we've discussed this, right? And so I have a philosophy. It's that homeowners, prospects in general, their job is to say no, because if their job was to say yes, we wouldn't need salespeople, right? But at the same time, they want to say yes. They really want to say yes. They really want to work with us. Otherwise, why would they waste their time talking to us? And it's us, the salespeople, that are costing us the sales. So you see here, the scores are not above 70. It's because we are genuinely being precise. Like, if you're gonna get 100, which has never happened, I think the best we've gotten is like 96, which is set by Ian, of course, right? To get 96 out of 100, you have to be on point all the way across. So this is the dashboard, and in sales performance. So here's what you can do. So right now, again, 7 days. You can do 7 days, 30 days. Select the salespeople you want to review, and then what we have here is you have. So it looks like there's a couple of things broken here on the recent ones. Let's see here. So here's a sale, right? This is gonna be like super meta. So Brett just closed Jacob on a sale, right? This is earlier today at 10 o'clock this morning. Like, we're using this, right? So you click on that. What was it? He was selling sales training, the AI tool. And you can see, oh man, he only got 60, right? So let's look at this. We can start off here. I have a link for the call, a link for the transcript, and a link for the evaluation. If I wanted to dive deeper into this, which I can as a sales manager, right? Because our sales manager is supposed to go and review them, review the 3 worst calls with them every single week, and now we can score it. So there's a link right there. We can review the sales call. Like, how did it go in Fathom, right? Here's a transcript. Here's actually how the conversation went. It's all there. And then right here, the call review. So there was a typo there. So it says 78 here. So I got to figure out what the discrepancy is there. But 70 out of 100, pretty good, right? Rep demonstrated strong rapport building, personal story, shared experience, set a relaxed tone. All right, so out of 100, let's see, said salesperson talk 65% of the time. That's not good. Got to work on that.
Well,
um,
65, 35 salesperson talk.
that's not
That's
good.
pretty, that's high for
That's
oof.
really high. We're gonna have to
Yeah.
have a conversation about that, right? But control and curiosity, 7 out of 10. Empathy or opening and control, setting expectations, 7 out of 10. Empathy and curiosity, 7 out of 10. Emotional engagement and creating certainty, 6 out of 10. Demonstrating non-neediness. Hey, look, if this isn't for you, it's no big deal. 8 out of 10. Telling stories versus answering questions, 6 out of 10. Assertive versus aggressive, 7 out of 10. Guiding the prospect to sell themselves, which is a core tenet of our philosophy, getting them to close themselves, 5 out of 10. Um, Identifying and isolating the true objection, 5 out of 10. There was more objections to be overcome to find. He got the sale, but he didn't uncover all of them. Closing and getting emotional buy-in, and then the last one, which most salespeople skip, preventing remorse and setting clear next steps, making sure they don't cancel after the call's over, and let them know, like, hey, after we're done today, Sally from our office, she's going to give you a call. It's her job to make sure that we close on time. So she's going to ask you for paperwork, for information. If you can be timely with her, we can make sure you get your money on time. Setting next steps, right? So then it goes in greater detail why they got what they got. So let's go back to guiding a prospect to sell themselves. Weaker area. Rep asked them open questions, but often stepped in quickly with answers or reframes rather than allowing the prospect to fully articulate. That's in the automatic call review, right? This is something that Ian's been training for 2 years, by the way. So evolution, what they do well, what adjustments could have made, what were some major mistakes, allowed the call to become too much of a monologue, which is consistent with a 65-35 salesperson talk ratio, right? Limiting the prospect's self-persuasion, which goes hand in hand. If you're talking too much, they're not going to be selling themselves. How well did they listen and follow emotional clues? Listen well to surface details. And then, so we have a strategy checklist, right? We have a pass fail. Did you do this or did you not do it? So Brett used good auditory mirrors, didn't rush to answer questions, anchored with an extreme price, act as a guide, not a seller, and future pace the benefit. But he didn't drill into pain. He didn't set good enough expectations. He didn't create enough certainty through hesitation. 3 tactics he did well. 3 unforced errors. Defaulted to explanatory monologue. Missed explicit isolation and exploration of the prospect's timing. Failed to introduce strategic hesitation or healthy doubt before moving to a close. Like, you can see how detailed all this is on
I love
every
this, Steve,
single
so
call.
much. I love this so much. I'm sorry to cut in, but I love this so much. I only saw this when we first chatted. I got a kind of sample that you showed me. This is my first kind of real dive in live as at a call that
Oh,
happened today.
this is an
Um,
iterated version. So the first version you saw was not this thorough. Like, we are,
this is unbelievable. This
yeah,
is unbelievable. And anybody who's hired any salespeople, anybody who has any experience at all with a salesperson, reading this as I am right now and looking at the guidance to performance, not only for the rep to like what did I do well, what did I not do well, because a good rep's always gonna, a good agent's always gonna want to improve. But for me, if I'm managing them, I am zeroing in without any effort at all on exactly what I need to address with who is this again?
Brett.
Brett. With reading this, you wouldn't. It would take you seconds to understand very quickly a couple things that you need to go over with Brett right now.
Exactly. Which leads us to the next thing, coaching
Unbelievable.
insights,
Unbelievable.
right? So let's scroll down to Brett, for example, right? So to improve future calls for sustained success, focus on strategically pausing after emotional disclosures, allow prospects for internal reflection, right? Awkward silence. And then for the past 7 days, in the next sales call, focus on using open-ended, curiosity-driven questions to uncover the prospect's deeper emotional motivations and objections, allowing them time to reflect and articulate their own reasons for moving forward, right? This is the coaching advice based off the last 30 days of calls, based off the last 7 days of calls, right? And we want to go deeper, we can view a scorecard over time. So over time, let's see, in the last 7 days, 7 sales calls, he's been doing pretty good on opening, setting really good expectations. He was engaging, but
Ooh,
identifying the real obstacle, overall objection handling, right? Not as strong. But I can see here he's one of the best on the team in storytelling and empathy. And by the way, my team consistently struggles in storytelling. Like, that is our team's weakness. Like, I know that for sure. That's why I'm saying, like, he's stronger here because that's high for our team. But you can see empathy, right? Nearly off the charts empathy. And then we have it here 30 days, 90 days. And then, over time, as people are with us longer, we can see how they're doing previous months. And then let's see here. I think, yeah, I think that's it. So, uploading a call, just got this done 2 nights ago because team requires it. So, by the way, you'll appreciate this, or maybe you don't appreciate it. I had to make this for people that don't have a smartphone.
yeah, that's
So,
fine. It's okay. I mean, I don't
right?
approve, but I'll live with it.
Right? So, the other people like, yeah, we don't have the ability to export transcripts. Like, can you download the transcripts? Like, no. Right? So, they can't automate the transcript API call. They can't do that. I say, okay, can you download a transcript? Well, they charge us for transcripts, $1 a transcript. Like, okay, can you download the recordings? Yes. Great. Go here. So I had to create this for them. Select the salesperson, title for the call, upload a file, and click here. Right? So, like, that's done as of 2 nights ago. And then the last thing here, super simple. right? Name of your company, time zone, API key, and then we're going to add the affiliate link setup here. But that's it. That's what we've been building out for the last few months.
Well, and as someone who has been, has had a software product for 9 years now, I know exactly, I know what it takes to build out a product. I know how, how it goes. And what I'm so excited about this is like what I see right now compared to when we spoke.
Yes.
This is like to the point where I've already gone and put a note in my thing saying, by the way, need to sign up for this for our own internal team ASAP. Um,
Yeah.
this is amazing, and it makes me even more excited because if this is what you've been able to accomplish since we spoke, it's only going to keep getting better because, and the best bit is because the core understanding that is needed is your understanding of sales, is your guys' method.
Yeah.
And
Well,
and
that's the big
without
thing.
that, it's just technology, but you've baked in and you're going to bake in such a core understanding of the best methods for sales that it's going to take over the next 2 months, it's going to
Mhm.
get even better and even better and even better.
Yeah, I mean, the next section we're going to work on is the role play, right? And then the role play, like I said, those bots are already up and running. It's the being able to see over time how you guys are doing over the role play, being able to set 8:30 a.m. Monday through Thursday. It's happening no matter what, right? Like that's the part that we're building out next. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The part about we're salespeople, we're sales trainers that are using AI to improve our service. There are a lot of tech companies out there adding AI for sales training, and I can only appreciate them because it helps highlight how good our stuff is.
Well, and like they're probably, it goes back to what I said at the beginning. You do you. They're probably very good at the technology bit, as are we.
Yeah. Yes.
But you have that real deep understanding of the sales process, of what makes good sales technique, good process, what makes a good salesperson. And without that, the technology is a void of spinning shit that doesn't matter. Like who
Hmm.
cares if it's not getting you where you need to go? And to do that, you need to know what gets you to where you need to go.
Right. Technology helps us do better what we already do.
That is phenomenal. I mean, I think that is such an amazing tool. Like anybody anybody who is investing in leads and then investing in people, to me, this is an absolute no-brainer because those both of those things cost you money and
Hmm.
possibly kill your business if you don't get them right.
Right.
And this, like just seeing that scorecard, seeing those takeaways, the three things they did right really well, the three things they did really, not as well, that over time, learnings over 7 days, that kind of information for the your people is gonna be amazing. But for you as a manager to identify where you need to either kill or improve quickly will possibly save you 6 months of pain and lost sales.
Yeah. I mean, compared to, again, not judging our competitors, not judging our colleagues and peers, but time and time again, you know how
You can
many
judge a
real
little.
estate investors have offered me like, hey, you want my John Martinez login, right? Because like that gives a lifetime access, right? So like the old school way is like, hey, Jordan, thanks for joining my wholesaling company. Here's my login for John Martinez's training, right? Have at it. Call some old leads. All right, you close a couple of those. Now you get the good leads. Godspeed.
It's
Very different.
phenomenal. Yeah, no, I'm incredibly excited about this. I can so I think it is such a powerful thing. And in terms of our integration with you and why I'm really excited as well, it means that all that activity that they're doing inside a smartphone. So if you're using smartphone as, we've got over 2,000 real estate investment companies using smartphone right now. And if they're using smartphone, they can sync up with your tool and there it is going to be just like we have a seamless integration with our CRMs, and that is why you made a great point earlier. Salespeople, what do they hate doing? They hate updating they hate logging shit in the CRM, right? That is
Oh
a
yeah.
right. And
Oh,
so whenever if I ever have to sell smartphone to a team, I was over in New York last week talking to a relatively large company who's thinking of bringing smartphone in. And I asked him like, how easy is it to get your reps to put their call logs in to their Salesforce? And he was like, and you could see that sort of immediate kind of
Restraint.
frustration. And I said, yeah, you don't have to worry about that anymore, mate, because look, watch this. I made a quick call and boom, it was in there. The same
Hmm.
thing. What I love about the integrate, why I jumped on the opportunity to work with you with this, and I was so excited that our team and your team were able to come together so quickly, is this power is going to be seamless for our smartphone customers. And that to
Yeah.
me is worth its weight in gold.
You guys have made it so easy, right? Because like everyone else, if they can work with us, they have to use Zapier if they can. Which again, I built that out too. Right? I had to build all the Zapier integrations, right? But like I am creating all these hacks to make these things happen. But I can tell you right now, everyone I talk to that buys our program, hey, what dial are you using? Smartphone? Yes. Right? Like it's gonna take me 5 minutes to onboard you. Five, right? Everyone else, I was like, okay, well, like, do you know how to use Zapier?
And you got to set up a Zap, and you got to do this.
Yeah,
That's phenomenal. Why don't we? Oh, we just got a comment. Literally took us
yeah,
5 minutes.
exactly.
Uh,
Right, Justin, we onboarded them. I want to say earlier this week. Fantastic. You know, they're out in Phoenix, my neck of the woods. Right, few minutes, so easy.
Phenomenal. Well, let's dive into some questions. We did get some questions in here, and I want to make sure because they'll be for you. And can you see the Q&A, Steve?
I can, yes,
Okay, why don't we drive in? You can take some questions from anybody, and
yeah,
then we can always open up to comments. And definitely appreciate Justin jumping in as a
yeah,
customer story.
yeah. Thank you, Justin. So Omar, will this be integrated with Podio? It really depends, right? It's really more like, are you using smartphone with your Podio? If you're using smartphone with your Podio, yes, you get all this information, right? So that part's done. If you're using smartphone, great. If you're not using smartphone, I hope you're good at. I hope whatever you're using integrates with Zapier. That's that because there are platforms that don't, right? Follow Boss, right? At some point, I'm gonna set some time aside to build out a plugin for Follow Boss. So they're on the bottom of the list of integration because they make it so hard to work with. But yeah, Podio. The questions really are you using smartphone. If you are, this is gonna be easy for you. Okay, good. Use smartphone. Boom, easy. 5 minutes. Shawnee, how is a rate calculated? Does the bot rate against your sales process script only? Yes, it does, because that's what we can control. We cannot control, let's see here, you know, sign contracts, getting an email address from the bot, whatever. So, yes, we measure what we care about. Again, Ian and I are excessively particular. People that we coach, because we've coached, I mean, at this point, over 1,000 salespeople. I was kind of blew my mind when I looked at it. I've coached over 1,000 salespeople. We care about the process because if you're good at the process, everything else takes care of itself. So that's how we score. We score it the same way we score a sales call on a live sales call. We're going to score the role play bot as well. Now, there's going to come up a time where we're going to have very specific role play scenarios where we're only going to talk about setting the expectations. That's all we're going to work on. Or we're only going to work on drilling for pain. But for now, it's the whole process and we rate you on the whole process. Is it listening to audio or is it reading the transcript? It is reading the transcript. AI, from what I've seen, because other people are promising that they can do it. Everyone that's promised that they can use it on audio and tonality also gets bad reviews. Putting that out there, right? I've got Abstract. They're a big player in this space, right? And fortunately, everyone I've talked to that's used them hates them. So, does it grade tonality?
I'm
Not
gonna just jump in and say I love Abstract.
okay.
I love
Great,
the guys. They're
great,
great guys.
great. Um, so, but as far as the reading the transcript, it reads the transcript and it uses context for clues. And what I mean by that is, what are you saying before? What happens when you say it? And how do they respond? That is how we're measuring tonality, right? We're using context clues based off what happened before, what happens when you said what you said, and then how they responded. If we're seeing consistently you're saying something and they're blowing up on you, probably not good tonality. If you're saying it and they're answering open-ended answers, we're don't, probably doing good tonality, right? And so the things we measure, empathy and curiosity, that's what we're using. We're using context clues for that. Can you customize the coaching, or is the coaching preset to Steve Train's coaching? It's pre-trained. Really, I would say our philosophy, because Ian is taking the lead on training and coaching the bot, and legit, he is coaching the bot. There are guys out there uploading libraries of information, sales calls, YouTube videos, right? Like there's a lot of guys doing that, and that works, right? What I would say this is where we're a little bit different is that Ian's been again personally coaching our AI bot for almost years now. After every single sales call, he uploads it, has the bot review his call, and then he'll coach the bot on coaching his calls. So, in order for someone else to do that, you're gonna have to have someone that is willing to coach the bot, because language learning or machine learning is a thing, it's real, but to effectively machine learning on hundreds of sales calls, it's not going to be that precise. So it's really Ian's hands-on coaching the bot on how to coach sales. So will it get smarter? It's going to get smarter through our data. So here's what's interesting. I didn't really highlight this a moment ago when I was going through sales performance, but we're going to require our own organization to attach revenue to calls, and we're going to suggest to our clients to attach revenue to calls. And from there, now we can see what really moves the needle. Because there are things that I believe to be true in sales, right? But now we're gonna know what's true in sales. When will this be available on smartphone? It's been available on smartphone for almost a month now. It's again, like I talked to Jordan, I want to say middle of March.
Yeah.
Middle of March. And within weeks, right? I got a chance to talk to I'm probably butchering his name, Ovidio.
Ovidio, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Within weeks, fully integrated with zero problems. Not like, hey, there's some problems here, you can fix this. Like immediately, it was working just perfectly.
And
Um,
actually, just to jump in there for the question, Omar, when is it available in smartphone? Two things I'd say. In smartphone, if you're in smartphone, there's a notification. We put a notification up of all new news, like new things like this, and it's in the top corner that looks like a bell. If you're looking where you can find it, if you go into your the admin menu, you know what? I'll quickly, Steve, you don't mind? I'm going to quickly share my
yeah, go
screen
for
to
it.
show them.
Hmm?
And he said, I believe this is the right screen. I got way too many screens. I presume you can see my smartphone right now.
Yes.
So inside your admin panel, you can go ahead to the marketplace, and there it is. And it is, as I think Justin said, it is a very, very, very simple 5 second, like it is minutes to connect smartphone with objection proof selling, and you're up and running right away.
Yeah, it couldn't be more seamless. Like it kind of blows my mind how easy it is for someone to get up and running. Like there's, you know, as a visionary, here's what I hope will happen. Here's what I hope will work. But very rarely does what you hope will work actually work. It's crazy how well it's working. And then the last question, how adaptable is the software with vacant land? Sales is sales, right? So maybe your average score won't be as high. You won't find as much pain with a landowner versus where you would with a homeowner. But here's what we're also going to do, which I didn't share this as well. There's going to be another page as well that's going to measure how you're doing against everyone else in the country in your industry. So right now we have a whole bunch of wholesale guys, but we also have one wholesale land guy, and we're going to have more. And so like as we add more and more companies in there, now you're going to see how do you compare against the other vacant land guys across the country.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean that is phenomenal. I think it's like I'm super excited about this. I say, particularly right now, where everybody is thinking the everything's a bit in flux right now, and focus and performance has never been more important. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Sales will never be as important as right now, making sure you've got the team focused in the right way, doing the right thing. And I think, the fact that for me, a lot of technology is great, but a lot of technology has to be underpinned by the right concepts. And that's why did smartphone jump on this opportunity? Well, one, Stephanie introduced me, and in a moment Stephanie introduced me to something, I'm done. Like Steph, I love Steph. But more importantly, I know that Steve and his team have the methodology that is going to be successful because I've been in this industry for 8 years, and there's a reason why Steve's name is always at the top of the list. You don't get to the top of the list unless you consistently perform. And so for me, when I thought about our customers and how do we can bring the best value to our customers, it was absolutely bring in Steve and objection proof selling in a smartphone because it's going to bring that underpinning of true sales expertise to a technology facilitator instead of a technology focus which doesn't really know what it's doing. And to me, that is the best value you'll ever get.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Well,
let
thank you. Thanks for
Steve.
saying that.
I'm gonna let Steve carry us out. Steve, in terms of any last thoughts you have in terms of let's like first of all, how can people get this? How can they get access to it in terms of setting it up? We know we showed them where it is in
Mhm.
smartphone, but
Yeah.
what's the process like to sign up?
So to sign up, so I would say, we show you the demo. We have more free demos. So you can just go to objectionproof.ai. So it's really simple, objectionproof.ai. And from there, you can upload your own calls, right? Your own transcripts. Make sure you like it. And after you do, someone on my team will reach out to you and then they'll have a conversation. See again if it makes sense for you guys. Now, for me, I think it's a no-brainer, but I can't speak for everybody. But as far as like last thoughts here, I would say this is the time to get excited because the reality is not enough people are talking about it, which kind of blows my mind. Myself, I've looked at it, kind of had it a corner of my eye. I've said over and over again. I might have shared this with you when I first connected with you. We have our quarterly strategic meetings where we do our SWOT analysis. We have our annual strategic meetings where we do a SWOT analysis. And over again, what I've said is the greatest threat to us as a sales training organization is someone's going to come out with an AI tool and they're going to sell training through the tool for cheaper than what we charge. And from there, they're gonna eat, from our troughs, right? That's been my greatest fear. And
Yeah.
it took a friend like Stephanie to say, like, hey, why don't you be the one that does it? Like, oh yeah. Why don't I be the guy that does that? And so we're doing it. And there's not enough other people talking about it. And so like anyone that jumps on right now has such a major competitive advantage. Because like if you think about again, I go back to how the salespeople we hate it when our salespeople won't put notes in the CRM. How we hate that. Well, for us, what do we hate? Call reviews and role play. Now we can automate all that. The things that we hate most, and now we get to do what we're great at, which is coaching our team, solving problems. Like, hey, Jordan, look, I know you've been averaging 60 this week. There's a couple of calls here where we were like 40. Let's review what happened here. And now we can actually do a call review where it's impactful together. Versus what do we typically do? Pull 3 random calls. We don't know if it's any good or not. And that's if we do that. Now we can say, hey, here are the 3 worst calls. Which one do you want to go through?
I love that so much. I have taught time and time again the need for reinforcement
Oh
and
yeah.
reinforcement of techniques, reinforcement of capabilities, and of measuring and making sure that performance is still there. Because performance may be here one week, but it can be here, and this is whatever the camera is,
Mhm.
it can drop real quickly. And if you're not on top of that, that drop may kill your business, right? And
Oh yeah.
like 100%. And anybody who's ever been a business owner absolutely knows that. And I think the to your point of being at the like on the wave, being at the head of the queue, the line here, you know, if you're using a tool like this against people who are either randomly picking calls and just seeing if it's a good one or not, or aren't doing anything, you're going to be so much more battle ready. You're going to have such a better team. You're going to be playing in the majors where everybody else is teeing up on T-ball. And
Yeah.
and right now, where with everything kind of in flux and everybody being very careful and trying to figure out where to go, honing your skills, honing your team, and making sure that you take advantage of every opportunity will never be more important. And I think this partnership between Smartphone and Steve and Objection Proof Selling, I think it's phenomenal for the sector, for real estate investors in general. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to bring it to our customer base, and grateful to you,
Yeah.
Steve, for working with us.
I'm grateful for you for seeing the opportunity because, man, you made it so much easier to get it out there. Uh, I'm telling you, it is exhausting. I had no idea how many different CRMs there are out there, how many dialers there are out there. No idea. Like I knew, right? Like it was somewhere back there, but I forgot. There's like over 7 CRMs. There's over 5 dialers out there. It's nuts, right? And that's just for real estate, not to mention the other industries, right? And so, yeah, again, I appreciate you being an awesome partner here because without you, onboarding would be such a nightmare and we would not be able to reach nearly as many people, like people that have success. Like the people like we uploaded Paul Grimes, this week, smartphone, simple, right? He's like, after one day, he's like, I cannot believe the information we get from this. Right? We got Grant Jarvis is like, my team looks forward to the reviews every single morning because they want to get better. Doesn't happen without your support.
Well, for thank you so much, Steve, for jumping on. Thank you for everybody for coming on tonight, and for those of you who are watching the replay because you couldn't make it, um, just head over to objectionproofselling.com or objectionproof.ai, I believe it is, for the
Yes.
free upload. Head over there or head over to Smartphone. We've got links to Steve to the product inside of our platform and on our marketplace, and take advantage of one of of what I would consider to be the top sales trainer in the real estate investor sector. You've got Amir, and they've built a tool that's going to help you close. So take advantage of it, and don't get there now so that you can get ahead of your competitors. That's my only last
100% right.
word.
That's it. That's it. Nothing less. Nothing else needs to be said.
I can't mic drop because it's damn well attached to a boom arm like yours. But everybody, thank you, Steve, so much. I look forward. I know we're gonna pop on a podcast pretty soon together.
Yes.
I'm excited about that. I'm also gonna be in Arizona in a couple months, so I'll hit you up when I'm on that. I'm off to Austin on Saturday, where I'll be hooking up with Stephanie and saying hi to her. So
Hmm.
I'll give her best. Thank you, everybody, and have a fantastic week, what's left of it, and head over to objectionproofselling.com and objectionproof.ai.
All right. Thank you.